All right, guess what? My phone says 8:30. I must call this meeting, Jefferson County Board of Supervisors order Monday, December 15th. And I would man, better look first and see.
It's just
How
the
many
8th.
do we have?
Just the 8th.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of December 8th.
So much.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Dave,
Yeah.
did it snow?
Yeah, we'll do it.
We got lots.
Hey, you were here yesterday.
1.5 hours out there.
Yeah. Didn't see you, but I knew you were here.
Yeah, I'm kind of the trail behind it, clean spots.
Yeah.
I got nothing. You got anything?
Do what?
I've got nothing.
No, I don't unless. You got anything?
No. Appreciate you getting this.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you. No problem. Yeah.
Can I raise a question?
Yeah.
There were some problems with getting snow at the law center. Removed, and I know that, it seems to me that should be a 28E organization issue, but
Yeah.
there is some need for, I was asked to relay, there's some need for some coordination on snow removal.
As far as I know, in all the years I've been here, we never moved snow at the law center. That was handled by the law center.
Okay, well, they're a 28E because it's our sheriff and our police.
Yeah.
But just something I wanted to raise.
They have an
Apologies.
agreement, they have an agreement in place already that is a 33 and a 50.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So that already exists.
30.
Good, okay, well, apparently over the weekend, there had been some issues.
In that 2080, it spells out who pays 50% and who pays 30%, 3%, and for what they pay for.
I'm just the messenger, I didn't know that.
6%.
Right. But as far as snow removal goes, we've never had anything to do with snow removal there.
Dwayne.
They have approached us to do their snow removal. And much like the courthouse, we do the snow removal for them and bill them. But we don't work. They do it on, they get removed on our schedule. If they want more prompt service, they're more than welcome to hire that out, which is what we encourage them to do. But they have chose not to do that.
I don't know who they or, who coordinates these things, but I just wanted to raise that as an issue that had apparently arisen over the weekend. That's just something that the public's concerned with.
They're more than welcome to replace us.
Well, like I said, there is an agreement in place.
Yeah.
And it has been for years. It was developed by the service agency and approved by both the city council and the board of, well, actually was approved by the service agency, but I remember working on it way back when Greg Morton was here because we changed some of the what was 33% and what was 50%.
Yeah, I know when the county originally entered into the first one where the old fire station
Right.
and the law center was, that it probably started with that and it's just continued on. Somewhere snow wasn't getting removed, and I don't know, just to raise it as an issue. Someone needs to look into it at some point.
Well, like I said,
I
I
don't know who pulls the triggers on that.
don't know.
I think basically somebody hires somebody to do it and the city pays a certain percent. We pay it, well, the law center pays, they split that. Or somebody pays all of it.
Yeah, because he
somebody-
puts it in the budget.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't know if it's the sheriff or chief of police or who says, hey.
Would you
it's
be
snow,
billing
it's-
them for that? then? We need, okay.
Yeah, I would just assume that.
Well, I wonder who's done it in prior years. I don't know.
That was just like Josh, we help them out when we can, but
is there anybody on there from the law center?
Who knows? Maybe the anonymous guy person.
Anyway, like I said, there is a 2080 agreement
Very good.
and, anyway, okay. Wayne,
it snowed.
Did it?
Yeah. Yeah, we went out,
Must have snowed where you're at too, but Dave said it snowed here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we got as much warehouse as you guys did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
So yeah, we plowed over the weekend, blades are out on the gravels again today. Trying to get everything opened up before it hits us again, but it's supposed to warm up, so maybe the guy who put it in place will remove some of it first later this week. So right now we're plowing snow, doing maintenance on the snowplow equipment and doing paperwork in the office. Pretty quiet.
And for Dwayne? Josh?
I have about as much as they do. Business as usual, I guess. For the moment, we are fully staffed. Dare I say that out loud? Our new captain positions are going well. I haven't had any, or haven't heard of too many issues with that so far. We're still working on some standardizing work and chores and things like that. We're looking at getting a new medical director as well, so more to come on that when we get more information. Otherwise, just trucking along.
Have you heard anything back from Jacob on that?
I did, yeah, he sent me a whole list of things we'll have to do to update the bureau on that, so, I mean, it's just paperwork and,
Right.
yeah, nothing crazy.
I hope our crews didn't have to go out of town. During,
There were tow bands most of the weekend, so I don't think there were too many transfers going on.
Did you guys see the Interstate 80 up by Iowa City?
I heard it was closed, but
Yeah. They had 74 incidents of wrecks.
wow.
Wow. So I would imagine, thank goodness the ambulance stayed home.
Yeah.
Anything for Josh? Any particular, not particular, but potential time frame for a change?
I can estimate, but I don't know for sure. I mean, it's gonna be relatively quick.
Okay,
I would assume within, I'd say a month to be safe, but probably sooner than that.
okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get to meet them.
Yeah, I'll have him come in and on his availability whenever, because he has kind of a unique work situation.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll have him come in.
I think it's appropriate to leave.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything else for Josh?
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Santo, hey, come on down.
Ready.
Let's see, I think you've got about 35 seconds.
Okay, that should be plenty.
Unless it's not going up, and then take your time.
This is your favorite meeting of the
Yeah.
year, I know, so I want to make sure that we have plenty to go through. Some packets for you.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I'll get that. Awesome. Thank you. And then if anybody else wants one, just the general insurance renewal overview. So obviously, there's a ton of information provided in this report. Grateful for the opportunity. I'll cover the renewal as full and in depth as you want, or just maybe start high level on kind of some of the changes that are happening, and then answer any questions that you as supervisors or anybody else in the public has about it. First few pages here are just team overview. So we like to include these pages just so anybody at Jefferson County, if they have questions about who's working on our account or they want contact information for a particular individual that would have filed a claim or been involved in loss control services, all of those folks are on this team members page. Here, the three that work the most proactively with Abby on the account throughout the year are myself, Liz, who's here with me, based out of Mount Pleasant, and then Janice Durham, who's our lead public entity account manager. In addition to the three of us, Kayla Leonard is here in our Fairfield office as a local account manager. She works on the Jefferson County accounts that aren't the main county accounts, so like service agency, E911, the various ICAP numbers. So Kayla's local and can be available whenever as well. I like to always include, we won't go through all of this, but just so you guys can have a general sense on claims activity, because our industry typically does a very bad job of giving you guys your performance and claims insight. We presented this information to Bobby and I said that we would have it available just to make sure that we could talk about anything that is ongoing if you have questions around it. These include claims for either ICAP, who the renewal is for today, or IMWCA, who's your workers' compensation provider. So that overview is on pages. It shows this page 9 and page 9 is the first page of this document. So two deals essentially. You have your open or your claims that are over 10,000 in total for the previous 5 years, and then any open claims that are shown above and beyond that are listed below. One thing that's unique about your guys' claim history is when we ran this report, they were still working through that Pleasant Plain Road claim. So when you guys did the chip and seal, there were tons of vehicles that had damage that essentially reported through the county, and ICAP did cover the losses to those. So you're going to see a ton of claims that are just showing as tar damage to vehicle, and it lists out every individual one. The good news for the county is there was a significant claim that kind of fell off. The 5-year look back history, a jail incident that fell off this year. That was your largest historical claim with ICAP. But there is still activity that is on the account, just claims that have been submitted throughout on the various lines of coverage. So kind of a couple of pages back to back showing that. Again, I just like to include that information just so you guys can kind of get a sense of what is ICAP and IMWCA covering off the bat. So I'm going to pause there. Any questions on that information?
No, I guess I've noticed here we're on open claims, it says workers' comp. Why I'm confused. We carry workers' comp insurance and so why are we doing that through ICAP?
No, so that's through IMWCA.
Okay.
So this includes your full claim system.
Okay.
So both ICAP and IMWCA.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
If there's not any other questions there, and if there are, we can certainly come back to this. This is what most people want to go through. So starting on page 10 and 11, this is the renewal summary. So your policy with ICAP renews on February 1st, 2026. Left-hand column shown here is the current term that we're in. So based on the current assets that you're insuring through the end of 2025, that's the left-hand column. Right-hand column is the proposed renewal from ICAP. You'll see as you go through here, casualty lines with ICAP for the most part are not significantly up, even with claims activity, because you're a part of a pool member group. You guys share risk with other members, other municipalities across the state of Iowa. So the benefit to that is even when we have maybe some claims activity, the pool offsets, you share risk with one another. So there's benefit if we were with a traditional insurance company, let's say, they would likely take the lines that we've seen higher activity on claims submissions and likely increase the rate significantly to kind of offset claims that have been paid out. So that's the benefit to ICAP. One of the things that is difficult for all public entities is you guys are very asset heavy. So if you kind of scroll down, you're going to see standard renewal increases that aren't overly significant until you get to the property section. So property is the one that's up significantly this year. A majority of that is valuation driven. So ICAP has hired out a third party called HCA. They're an asset valuation company. They're doing kind of over a 4 to 5 year period across the entire state of Iowa and their membership group, they're going out and evaluating what the true replacement cost is of the assets that you all own. And they're essentially telling the group, hey, based on our information and data and based on the assets you own, this is the true cost to replace them in the event that there is a loss. So the benefit is that the insurance will respond properly at the time of loss. The downside is valuations are what drive premium. So they essentially take the values that you guys have insured, they multiply it in different categories times the rate that's assigned, and it generates your premium. So as your valuations have gone up, premium goes up with it. The actual rate is pretty flat. So it's not like increasing the rate on you, it's that values are truly up. So I know that there's a ton of numbers that are listed in here, but the easiest one for you to look at is you've gone from a total blanket limit of insurance of 39.9 million up to 48.5 million. And if you go all the way down, your total insured values, what you guys have for assets that are insured, went from 45 million up to about 60.8 million. So if it were just purely like, well, we did a review and here's the numbers, these are approximately what we thought, then there might be some level of pushback on like, well, how did you come up with the values, or why is there such significant change? They provide a very thorough report that's included in here. So if you go to a couple of pages from now, I just want to show you guys an example in their report. Like if you go to page 23 of this document,
We get to the picture.
yeah, exactly, that funding part. So from here on are the various buildings that they came out and analyzed the county. So the first one that is listed is the courthouse itself. This is by far your most expensive structure to insure. Based on their valuation and coming out on site, they estimate that the cost to replace the building itself is at 18.69 million, which was an increase from where it was at last year. And that's all broken down in a table that we can share with the county of, hey, where was it insured before? Where is it insured now? The benefit to ICAP has always been that you have a blanket limit of insurance with ICAP. So what that means is that if you have your assets on a replacement cost basis and you have a loss, if we ever exceed the value to replace the building, you can utilize your blanket limit. So there's not county expense at the time of loss above and beyond your deductible. So what I mean by that is this courthouse is listed on your schedule at 18.696 million. If we somehow had a total loss here, it's hard to imagine that, but tornado comes through and just demolishes this building. And they go back through and you guys start getting bids to build this to its like, kind, and quality, which would be incredibly expensive based on the historic nature of the building. Let's say that it comes back and all bids are received and the total cost is $24 million. With replacement cost, with ICAP, your blanket limit of insurance would respond to go to the full 24 million, as opposed to telling you, well, it's only on the schedule for 18.696. So there's huge benefit to insuring assets at their replacement cost. But obviously, as we increase values, the cost of the insurance goes up. So flipping back, sorry to do it, but as we get to this page, we're up year over year for property by about 22%. So going from 177 of premium to 217. What I did was, if you flip to page 12, this is kind of the total cost summary of everything. What I try to do is show you, you do have options on property. So if you go to the very bottom, I listed the most expensive buildings that you guys have insured currently on replacement cost. with any of these, in theory, we could go back to ICAP and negotiate what's called a stated value limit. So saying, hey, you guys have it at, let's use the courthouse as an example. You guys have the courthouse at $18.69 million for replacement cost. Our group collectively is very confident that to replace that building would never exceed 15 million. ICAP will say, okay, we'll do it at stated value of 15 million, and your premium will decrease as a result of it. But in the event of claim, if that 15 million is exceeded, there is no blanket limit that kicks in at that point. So unfortunately, with your guys' most expensive building, given the courthouse and the historic nature of it, my assumption is that there would be a requirement to replace it to its like kind in nature prior to loss. It's not like we can just build, some random shell building and call it the courthouse in the event that there was loss here. So this is your most expensive building. It costs about $50,000 to insure the property at the courthouse. If we alter that, we can select a stated value, but that blanket limit no longer applies. And that makes just me nervous on behalf of the county to explore anything there. So we've looked at value options. So you'll see we did the courthouse, county attorney's office, law enforcement center, DHS office, and ambulance service building. All of these, you'll see the replacement cost that it's listed on the policy and the cost that it is to the county to insure the building. We can always vary the values if, Dwayne, myself, anybody here says, hey, we are confident that that's overinsured at replacement cost. But they came out and worked proactively with the county to come up with those values. So that's one option. Can always look at a higher property deductible, but we just increased that last year. So you have a $25,000 deductible for all types of losses other than wind and hail, which is 2% up to 350,000. If you have like a tornado loss, 300,000. So higher deductibles, we could always look at those, but obviously the cost of the county if we have a loss is higher. And then the third thing that we've done with counties is we can always look at your asset schedule and essentially say, hey, if we started self-insuring specific values, like if we started looking at every vehicle and every piece of equipment that we have insured at 30,000 and below and said, we're not going to buy insurance on it. We're just going to self-insure those. We've done those with our county and city clients as well. Unfortunately, the rate's so good that you just don't save a lot by self-insuring a lot of those pieces of equipment. So if you think of like say you have a $30,000 piece of mobile equipment, and we say, well, what's it cost to insure that? It's probably right around $300 annually. So if you have the loss and insurance doesn't cover it, you immediately wipe out all of your savings for the entire county. And with counties, with different departments, different budgets, it's very difficult to figure out, well, what do we self-insure? Then you have a loss. Department has to utilize their budget to replace a piece of equipment. They don't understand why insurance isn't covering it. So it's difficult to do all of that. I know that's a lot of talking, all of it to say 427 was our premium last year. 468 is the renewal premium. This does not include workers' compensation. So this is just your ICAP renewal. And there's a number of options that are listed here that we can certainly look at. A lot of our conversations with our public entities is, what are you budgeted for an increase? Is there a number that we need to get to?
You take it at 10% in.
So when we had talked originally, our forecast of just rate increase was at 4.55, not factoring in the HCA valuations. So I don't know what number was actually utilized, but it's noted below that our rate increase, not valuations, was at 4.55. So
I'm gonna look back, but I want to say we went through and put 10% into the budget for 8, something like that.
I want to say that conversation, I think what we basically said was this is a conservative estimate, but a lot of times counties benefit from, hey, let's project a certain level. If we save it, it's good news. And yeah, the HCA property valuations, it's impacting every group that's going through it. The first kind of wave is eastern, southeastern Iowa. So that's wave number one. They're going to continue to work west throughout the state. So you're seeing the largest property increase probably this year. Public entities are going to see those for the next 3 to 4 years. Your guys' kind of turn is up based on doing valuations this year. So, yeah, sorry, long answer to your short question, but just to give insight on what's happening there.
So you think we plugged in 10% at some point?
I believe we did do, yeah,
Well, that's a good thing on one level.
Most of your insurance rates have really increased.
Yeah.
I'm on the board at Jefferson County Mutual and they've really increased.
Yeah,
So this is good news to me.
relatively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What compared to what other people are getting.
Yeah. Yeah, homeowners insurance has been up the last few years. I mean, some companies cancel, some companies increase your policy 40%. It's just the nature of the industry right now has been pretty unprofitable for homeowners insurance companies. The county has seen increases the last several years too, so it's not like you're immune from it, but relative to the personal market, it's definitely less. And I will say ICAP, to their credit, we represent the county, so you all are our client. We can go to any insurance company and say, hey, we want to look at options. Today with claims history, we would not want to move the county because that would impact the payout on future claims, and we don't want to make that happen. And the reality is there's just not a lot of insurance companies that would write an entity like yours outside of ICAP anyways. So they are the best deal, if you will, for the county to insure. And they do a very good job, in my opinion, of paying out claims when they do come up. Pleasant Plain being a good example of, like, there wasn't a lot of pushback on negligence, who's responsible. It's just, hey, this is the issue. We report it. There's back and forth with the adjuster, and they take care of your citizens who had lost to their vehicle. So they do a good job.
I had to chuckle when you talked about if a tornado comes through, courthouse would probably be the only building left standing.
I agree. That's the really hard thing is that is a reality. Is it seems so impossible to have a total loss here, but if you do, I could be wrong on this, but 18.6 million, if you have to rebuild this to like its historic level, I don't know if that's done. So to me, it's really not an option to move this to stated value because you want that blanket limit available if we have to do anything with this building to truly replace it to its like kind of nature. I just think to source materials for this would be
Well, just the biggest thing about, these walls are 3 foot thick.
Mhm.
So if you're going to restore it, quotes,
Yeah,
then you're gonna put in 3 foot thick walls. Which, just like this building would still be standing when the biggest tornado went through.
for sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to just ask a question. Is there exclusion for terrorism and terrorism acts? A lot of times I know war is excluded from any insurance.
Yes, to my recollection, there's not an opt-out provision in ICAP's policy the way there is with traditional insurance companies. So I need to go back and look at the language for sure, but with a traditional insurance company, you have to either reject terrorism or it's included in your policy.
Uh-huh.
ICAP's not a traditional insurance
Yes, I
company.
understand.
They're a membership pool, so you don't go through that same process. I need to look to see.
Just an item of curiosity and of interest, is when you talk about total destruction,
Yeah.
that's one of the only things that I can think of that would result in possible total destruction. Just to raise it as a legal issue.
Yeah, I've not had that question fielded, so I will look into it.
No problem.
Any other questions for Joe?
Would this building be reconstructed as it is, or would it be built back with just something modern?
As is, so it replaces.
But as a county, would the county rebuild it as is, or would the county rebuild it with, tip up concrete? Or something modern, that would
I
be
get where
significantly
you're coming
steep,
from.
cheaper.
I'm not sure how the law looks at that.
That's the question that always exists is a lot of times historic buildings, you're required to replace. If it's on like the historic registry, which I don't know if this is, but I would assume it
I
is.
kind of think it is.
Yeah,
So it
so
would be required to come back like it is.
correct.
I wasn't trying to skirt your question.
No, it's fine. I was just sitting there thinking, why would you insure it for, whatever, 15, $18 million if you're gonna come back and put in a $10 million building,
Yeah,
Because we'll pocket the other $8 million.
because that
Clear
is
dividend.
Yeah.
we define public entities as cities, counties, school districts. So with cities, for example, there's typically a little bit more flexibility on the stated value deal. We just had a conversation the other day with a local city. Like their city hall, it's not on the historic registry. So they truly say like, well, you have our city hall valued at 20 million because of all the parts to it. And if we were going to rebuild this thing, we would never rebuild it past this. So then we can discuss, well, what's that dollar value? 12 million. Okay, we're going to do stated value at 12 million. But it's different when it's on the historic registry, and that would be an option. Like if you have to replace the building, then we need it on replacement costs because we don't want to exceed the value that's on the policy and not have additional funding. That would just be a bad day for all of us. I don't want to hit the paper for making that recommendation.
Any other questions? So I guess we'll get the bill, right?
Basically, the next thing is ICAP's got a commitment to continue membership. We get that to Abby, get that signed, and then the premium is due 30 days from the anniversary. So between January 1 and January 30 is when they need to receive payment for it.
And that is. Right,
468, 617.
pocket change, Susie thought that.
And just to know, just for full there's additional coverages that you can purchase. So we did list, so you could increase your excess liability limits, you can go higher crime limits. Most of the folks that when we come here, when they're seeing increases, they're not super interested in purchasing additional insurance, but it is available. Should you ever say, what's the most we could have for any one claim available in the form of a limit of insurance? You could go up to a full $15 million for any one claim that would exist today. You're at 7 as a county. So there's additional insurance that can be purchased, but I'm not the sales guy that's going to come here and say, hey, in addition to your big increase, you should buy more, but it is available should you request it.
Can you send a copy of this to Senator Dick?
I know that question was asked when conversations were being had
Send it
about
to
the,
Senator.
no, about the,
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we spoke about that.
yeah. The fellow from the jail, essentially.
And everyone's takes a little different. If you increased it to the full amount that you had available, it is about probably $9,000 more annually to have 15 million available. So some people's take is that's so cheap. Why wouldn't we do that? Some people's take is, well, how many claims get to 15 million? And there's very few historic ways. So we're selling out an additional 9,000 that we don't need to. We have clients that are in all ranges. So some clients say.
So is that per
15.
occurrence?
It is with ICAP. Yeah, so it's a non-aggregate deal. So if you have a law enforcement claim here, and then 2 months later, you have a significant auto liability, there are 2 separate claims with the full amount available. And again, today you guys have 7 million for any claim.
So we can technically double that for $9,000.
Correct, yep, so you would have your excess policy would be 13 million. You have $2 million or your underlying limit, so it gets you to a total. Back out.
That might be a discussion we need to have, given as many times as we've been sued lately. Just saying.
And truthfully, lawsuits just nationwide continue to increase and increase and increase. So it is, for you guys, in my opinion, your greatest risk is some type of auto incident where you have a county employee that's out on the roads that hits and, you know, God forbid, kills folks or significantly injures them in another vehicle. Or some type of law enforcement claim that, you know, chase goes bad or something at the jail goes bad. We've seen a large one historically, but to my recollection, I think that was 500,000 is where that thing eventually landed at, somewhere in that ballpark. So it's hard to imagine much more, but on the road, if you hit a high income earner and their family, and attorney can justify all the future income that that family lost out on, all of a sudden you can see those claims increasing. So
So I guess my question I've got is, so if we decide while we're sitting down doing the budgets, we want to increase that, or I guess we have to do it before January, because the premiums due anyway.
mhm.
So when we hit that line of demarcation, then we're on our own after that.
Correct, for any individual claim, yes. So let's say, again, God forbid, there's a auto accident and it goes to trial and the award is $12 million to the family. ICAP's gonna pay 7, you guys are gonna be on the hook for the additional 5. So
But even if we had the 15, that's the cutoff. Anything above that would be on us,
that's correct.
because these juries award sometimes enormous amounts of money.
Yeah, and again, that's the hard thing about insurance is at a certain point, like we could go out, truly, we have excess liability carriers that would go and sit over ICAP's 15 million. So if you came to us and say, we want to have a $50 million limit of insurance, we could go out to the market and try and source it. It would at some point become incredibly expensive, but those options do exist. I'd say groups that are very, very mindful and want to make sure that all things equal, that they're exercising their full available limit, going up to 15 million with ICAP is a very good option that is cost effective compared to going out and getting monoline excess liability quotes. So if you're budgeted at 10%, the increase is at 9.56. If you increase that by 9,000, you're probably going to 12% year over year. And you can make the justification, I think, that, hey, we were slightly over budget on this line item because we elected to purchase a full 15 million of coverage for any one claim, where historically we've had 7. So certainly an option.
Well, I'd like to put that on the agenda to be able to discuss and consider. We don't have to do it, but I'd like to have the discussion.
Timeline on that, ideal to have it by January 1, but what ICAP really needs is the commitment to continue membership. So in theory, if we have that document signed, your policy would renew on January 1 with what you had historically. But then if you told us on January 7th, hey, we've decided that we want to go to the full 15 million, then we could ask ICAP for a revised invoice and then just the payment that the county issued, we can get it on. So ideal to have it done by January 1, just so it's clean, we get the form signed and done. But there is, in theory, this 30-day buffer where you haven't needed to make payments, so we can make a change at that point.
This will be on 22nd, so
Okay,
it will go one way or the other,
sure.
depending upon what the board's desire is.
You bet.
So,
Well, I know you've reached out before. If any of you have any questions, all my contact information is in the front of this, and Abby has it available as well. So if you have questions around that leading up to that discussion, feel free to reach out, and happy to speak with any of you about it.
Any other questions for Joe?
Sounds good.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for letting us present. Appreciate it.
Oh, number 2 was discuss and consider resolution in the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office for step increase for Amanda Heine.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, did that right.
So moved.
I'll second it.
This is an increase, I don't want to say this. They have a reduced salary and they're on, under 1 year's probation and they've completed this year. So we have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Discuss and consider position and wage change for Casey Cronk, Jefferson County Assessor's Office. That'd be you.
That'd be me. So this really isn't necessarily legally something for the board to consider, but the auditor's office likes us to run it through so they can pay the bill, I guess. So anyhow, as some of you might know, Randy Kiefer's retiring at the end of the year.
I did not know that until the other day. When is the big thing?
His last day will be the end of the year.
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna catch up quick here. So we posted his job. We're gonna promote Casey Cronk to that position at 55,000. She'll be fantastic. She's great with people. She likes being outside. She'll do well with it.
Well, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this really, something that Conference Board needs to approve?
Nope,
Okay,
it's just all within my budget.
okay,
It's all, we're all good in the budget, so.
okay.
Yeah, it's nothing that this board necessarily legally has to approve, but the auditor's office is always, we've always done it this way, so that's why we're doing it.
Otherwise, those, would have to go through claims, not payroll. Is what-
Oh, okay.
That's
Which is
the
fine.
reason.
It's fine.
I think she'll be really good.
She'll be great.
Yeah.
She'll do great.
Is that a motion?
Well, yes, it was.
Okay,
But I don't think we have to have.
I think you're right, but it does say discuss and consider. So
Okay.
I'll just go with it if that's.
That's
okay.
fine.
I think I heard Joe go.
I'll second it, yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Have to sign it.
Nope, don't have to do nothing.
All right, discuss and consider hiring Anna Scotton as clerk in the Jefferson County Assessor's Office. That's it.
So then we posted the clerk job. Anna Scotton is our choice for it. She has been in the clerk's office. She's got 10 years, I believe, in the working for an attorney and then has worked in the clerk of court's office. She'll be a great asset, I think, for us for legal descriptions, you know, some legal, not necessarily advice, but just being able to read things and being able to interpret legal things that a lot of us don't have. So I think she'll be an excellent, was going to hire her at 44,000.
Can I say so moved now?
Sure.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I wonder, just curious on the business, but I wonder what Scott was she's.
She married James Scotton. His dad passed away. He works for Dexter. He's on the fire department. They live out here just east of town. They lived across the street from the high school for a time and then moved east of town, just west of Overland. The porch with the big garland on it.
Yeah, I know Scott's over the years.
And he's related to him somehow. Yeah, and I don't know who his dad was. They moved to Birmingham. I know his parents did
Okay.
20 years ago, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Bob just passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just seen him the week before and then it said he was out, must have been out visiting his daughters.
Red's been gone a couple of years, I think. Anyway. Discuss and consider liquor license for
Good job, Steve.
Thanks.
O'Shea Billiards LLC, doing business as Mad Hatter. I've not heard anything to the contrary from the sheriff's department. I think this is oh, there it is. Doesn't have any issues with it. I think this is a temporary thing for something going on out at Fairfield.
That's my understanding.
On Saturday.
So do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Discuss and consider rideshare Osage property. Oops. Is Dwayne still out? So I don't think that's a bad thing at all as far as that part.
He's aware of that. I've talked to him about that
Okay,
many times.
I don't know what we would have to do to make that
Well, if you look at the place out on Packwood Road,
right.
off of 34, you know, they mow it, they dump some rock there, they put up a thing ride share, that's it.
Okay. Do we need, I wish I had noticed that when Joe was still here. Is there a liability issue there? Or is it an enter at your own risk type thing?
You know, I don't know, would it be something similar to parking out here at the courthouse?
Yeah.
Same sort of liability? Because if it's our property, it
Right.
should be under our insurance. What do you think, Steve? Maybe we just have to list it.
do you list the one out into the Packwood Road?
I do not know. I don't know.
I looked through this book, I didn't see anything about
Yeah.
something like that.
So do we want them to encourage Dwayne to make that happen?
Yeah, just tell them. It's easy, Dwayne, do this.
Okay. So is that a motion, Cindy?
It is.
Is it? Okay.
I'll second it then.
But it makes me feel a lot better that Osage is occupied.
Any further discussion?
Mm,
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
I have had over the years, since I've been back, several requests for a ride. Or a park and ride.
Oh, I was gonna say, to be clear, they didn't ask you to give them a ride.
No,
Right,
no,
okay.
no, they do
Just
that.
wanna make sure.
Yeah. Abby's careful though, she told me so. I'm not so much, if I could go, I go. So. Discuss and consider event permit, I made a copy, it's there at the paperclip on it, Susie.
was included in my packet.
Oh, yep, thank you, Abby. I should have known. So one of the questions I had, as you know, we talked about going through it and looking at it. And I wanted to know everybody's thought process about the number 200. Does it need to be less? Is that okay? What do you think?
You know, as I'm driving around, I did last week and yesterday. I look at the whitetail properties down east, or rather north of Lock. If they have an event, like a wedding or something, they can go over 200.
Right.
Farm auction, especially if it was a big one, that could go over that. You know, into the, like Pleasant Plain, the church, if they have a big event, it could go over that. I would be for increasing that number, because we all know the number of the folks down southeast here, southwest, would be a lot bigger than that. You know, I don't know, we've got kelp at
The barn, yeah.
the barn. You know, we've,
Your
Masden
trunk
barn.
and trunk or treat.
we got trunk,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, yes, trunk or treat.
Well, that's a pretty wild bunch. I hear they dress up.
They do dress up,
It's a costume party, isn't it?
but that's like well over 2,000 people
Yeah.
by the time you count the people working there.
So what kind of number are you looking at?
What was the number they said for their attendance out here?
Well, they were a couple thousand.
Mhm.
as I recall.
Mhm. So I guess I would go back to maybe half of that, less or less, you know.
So the question I'm gonna ask is the issue, at least for me,
Mhm.
is not the number, because you can have 500
Right.
people that can be pretty doggone quiet, but you can have 100 people that can be pretty damn noisy.
Yeah, right.
And so what I'm wondering is if, because let's say, for example, we set it at, let's say 500.
Sure.
Okay, so at 499, they can exceed all of this and it doesn't come into play, but it's still just as noisy for the neighbor.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how we address that in terms of, I mean, is the number irrelevant? It's not doing these things?
You know, as I'm thinking about this, I agree with you. The number is really not significant. It's the obnoxious people that may or may not show up at those farm auction, to use him for example. But it's too bad we couldn't have an individualized thing. I mean, still have an ordinance, but for specific things like that,
Right.
make them fill out a form saying how many people were there, how blah, blah, blah.
What would that?
I know you want to say something, Tricia.
Well, I do want to say something, that I'm not sure you guys have thought about. Bub Cronk puts on a big
I know
motocross
that. I was,
race
go-
every
I was
year.
gonna bring that up.
I've never been to it. I don't know what kind of numbers they get. I do know it's a pretty significant amount, but I know in the evening, once evening hits, the race is done, everybody's quiet, the neighbors are okay evidently with it.
Uh-huh.
Because nobody's ever approached you about
Well,
an
They have it
issue.
out
They-
at the fairgrounds.
True, yes.
And I can hear it from home and I'm what, 5 miles? away?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not obnoxious, but I know.
But you
it's
can hear
there.
it, yeah.
They're out there racing and the fireworks and stuff, and I get that and understand that. I do think the big thing here is, and I don't know that there is such a thing as a one size fits all scenario. Yeah,
And it also only includes the county land. It's
Right.
anything in the city. I don't know where your program is, if that's part of the city.
it's county owned. It's all
Is it county? Okay, that would have thought.
Yeah, it's kind of strange the way that's set up, but it is.
But it's at night is the real problem.
Right. And exactly, so 4 o'clock in the morning, when you're 14 miles away and you can hear the bass, I'm just being facetious, but the point is that what are we trying to accomplish?
We're trying to make everybody happy.
Yeah, which obviously, my mom always said you can't do that,
Yep.
so.
Nope.
And,
I think we're trying to eliminate the noise that goes
Yeah.
all night, but then we're specific on things too.
You know, I would hope you guys would agree with me. Those young guys were here to talk about this event.
right,
They're trying.
yes,
And so maybe today's not the right day to make a decision, maybe another 1 or 2 meetings with them to make sure they understand that we are concerned with this. And I was just thinking of when the fireworks is out at Jefferson County Park, since that's county, I'm sure there's over 1,000 or 2,000 people there.
But they're not all on the county property. They're parked at Walmart. They're parked off on the streets away from there to avoid traffic.
Yeah, but I don't
so I
think.
guess
in
the
this-
question I have is, maybe to simplify this, is I have an additional concern regarding some of the potential health and safety concerns that might take place in a large event like that, but if
People are
we're,
gonna do what they wanna do.
huh?
People will do what they want to do.
No, I get that, but, in section 3, it talks about no large event shall produce noise exceeding 80 decibels. When measured at any neighboring residence property line or elsewhere on the neighboring residence property during daytime hours of 7 AM to 10:30, and then 60 decibels from 10:30 to 7 AM. The use of amplification equipment and stuff may produce noise prohibited. As set out, must be minimized and oriented away from neighboring residents to reduce noise impact. So what I'm wondering is if we have an ordinance that sets the noise level limit, defines a neighboring resident, which this does, defines an event organizer, which it does, the permit requirement and the enforcement penalties, and we don't care how many people you have. You know, if you can have one person making that noise. And then not necessarily fining them, although we certainly could do that according to this. But if they can't comply, then we shut them down.
Does it require a complaint to investigate it?
Permit required.
You know, if a neighbor doesn't, no neighbors care, does that?
And this does
I think
not.
that's a reasonable.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. This is a tool to be used.
Right.
You know, we have rules that say you can't drive over. You can't drive 66 miles an hour out here, but you don't have sheriff's officers or police going out and giving everyone going 66 a ticket. So you have some discretion of the law enforcement in enforcing this ordinance. It's a tool that they have. There are also public nuisance law in the state that allows a landowner to sue someone that does create a public nuisance and take it to court. And this also has a provision in it that I added that wasn't in the prior ones, that's in bold and underlined, that gives a person that is aggrieved that causes injury to them to file a claim. They could go to small claims court and sue them to punish them. This isn't put in many of our state laws because most organizations have lobbyists and they go and they kill it because they don't want to be subjected to being sued. But this basically is a protective mechanism that says obey the law or someone can sue you. So that
So
it's just something that I added in this time
Right.
to consider.
So in section 8, there is an appeal process, and a person or entity aggrieved by a permit decision under this ordinance may appeal the decision. Would that include if we shut them down during operation?
It'd be for the permit.
Okay.
It's only to appeal the permit.
Okay,
And during the operations to shut them down at that point, that would be up to forest
okay.
law enforcement, that type of thing, in my opinion.
So what do we want to do here, folks?
You know, I sit here and I think when the farmer that owns the land south of me is harvesting in the fall, you're gonna have noise and lights all the time, but it's part of living in Iowa,
Right.
in a rural area, in a remote rural area. How many, I just have a question, how many, did he ever say how many farmers were affected by this? Or how many residents surrounding the event were affected?
Well, I
by
know
this?
they came from Van Buren County as well, because Bob Waugh talked to
Yeah,
me about it.
that's right. He talked to me as
And
well.
obviously the gentleman that was here.
Yeah.
and-
How many miles does Mr. Wall live from there? I'm just curious.
Well, he probably lives right in
Yeah.
that area.
He does.
As I recall, because my brother-in-law, ex-brother-in-law, lived just off of 270 there, Kevin Wall.
Yeah,
His
He just
family
lived
had
just
property
north
on
of it.
south of where he was
Yeah,
living
yeah.
now.
that's Jim lives just south of it. Bob would live south and east of it. I would guess maybe 3 or 4 miles, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, and I can tell, I don't know that this makes any difference one way or the other, but for example, where I live down in the Trio Court, we're kind of down in the bottom. You know, we're just up above the west end. And sound from the fairgrounds carries very definitively through there.
Yeah.
So depending upon where you live and whether you're in a bottom or not, will have an impact on that sound. I'm just thinking that we've defined an obnoxious noise. I think the big issue is, you know, what it can be from 7 a.m. to 10:30, and then what it can be from 10:30 to 7 a.m. And if we can somehow or another mitigate that 10:30 to 7 a.m. So I think that's the big thing, is it's not so much the noise during the day as the pounding at 4 o'clock in the morning. And even, I don't know, in the case of what the issue, the circumstance that you brought up, or the fairground, or the farmers. And I mean, I know most farmers, if, you know, if they're behind, if you will, in harvest, it's been one of those deals, they're out late, but most of them aren't out after midnight.
But they're trying to beat the weather, they're gonna.
Sure.
They're gonna be.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm not faulting that at all.
Right.
It's really
And I
good.
think that, you know, if you have, well, you used the term a little bit ago, we have discretion. If you're going 66 miles an hour, we don't write up everybody.
Or anybody.
Yeah. And frankly, if Joe's out harvesting, he didn't come in here and get a permit anyway.
But he wouldn't have 200 people out there either, or 100 people.
Right.
Farm progress show.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, they don't go
No
with it all the
progress, you
time.
know.
It's hard, it's a hard decision you guys have to make.
Slippery slope.
Do you think we'd be better served getting the folks involved back in here and talking about it?
Well,
Tell them what we're thinking,
Yeah. it
so
certainly-
they can
certainly
be
would work.
warned.
Can I suggest one more thing?
Sure.
You can say 5.
Okay. Have you talked with the sheriff's office and with Brett Farrell?
Brett Farrell's been.
Brett was, yeah.
Because around the time that this conversation started, we happened to be looking at polling places with him, and he spoke highly of the organizers and their plans, and just, I think it's worth a conversation.
I do too, because I think they're responsible people.
Well, I don't have any question about that, but I go back to what I said last week.
Mhm.
When you have 100 doses of Narcan, that's a concern for me. I'm sorry, but it's a concern. That tells me that they're aware. Yes, they're being proactive. You know, they're wanting to save lives, but that, and what you said, or one of you said a little bit ago, you can't, people are gonna do what, maybe you said it, people are gonna do what people are gonna do. I get that, and I appreciate that. But, you know, you've got alcohol flowing through there, you've got drugs flowing through there. You're at 4 o'clock in the morning, and as great as these people are, they're putting on an event that somehow or another attracts that. And I think that you have to be able to sit on it to a certain extent. Maybe we can't, I don't know.
Well,
But I'm
really,
perfectly fine with having everybody come back and sit down and have a conversation again. But I do think that one of the most important things to come out of this is that we somehow or another have something in place that if they're unable to mitigate that 4 o'clock in the morning stuff, that we can.
And I agree with you, but I do think we have them back for them to hear you say that,
Okay,
you know.
right. I know that they're taking, you know, steps to do that, and I would appreciate that. And if they're successful, then this doesn't come into play.
Yeah, but
But
it's
if they're
nice to
not
have it.
successful,
yeah. I mean, they're trying to do things right, but they can't control the clientele or the people that's coming there. They hear about it, then people are going to come. You
right?
gotta stand at the gate. No, I'm not gonna let you in, but you can go in.
Well, it's their event. It's a private event. They have
It
the
is.
right to do that.
But then them people are gonna, they're still gonna figure out a way to.
Sure,
get in.
I don't doubt that. But I also look at it as if you're knocking out $2 million, which is what they said they were running through there. Okay, then I do believe that they have some obligation. Nobody, we've said it before, all of the three of us have said it. We're not looking to shut them down.
Yeah. So is that commercial property now?
It's out, sits on January 1. And January 1 is just a pasture.
Yeah.
Well, I was just kidding.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about it in the past.
We
and-
drove out there and looked.
Yeah, and you know, when it's not on, there's just nothing
And
there.
I will tell you what, they cleaned it up.
Yes, they do.
I was out there a week or two before it happened and it was a clean place.
You bet.
And I got a tour of it. One of the guys, groundskeepers was
Now,
there.
somebody's told me, I don't know that it's the same entity, but it happens twice during the year.
Spring
Oh,
and fall.
really?
Mhm.
Spring didn't get quite as wild as fall did.
I think they're
It's a-
different organizations is what I
Yes.
remember him saying.
Yeah, you're right.
At any rate, I will repeat, I think we need to get together and just talk to them.
How do we, let's see, that is Donnie
Everyone's-
Revelis.
Yep.
You have his email,
No, but I could probably find it.
could you? I might actually accidentally have it, I'll have to look and see. Because I know I've communicated with him. Okay, so we do this next week,
Oh, yeah.
we can get him here? Sure. Okay. Because
I mean,
obviously,
when is the event in the spring usually?
in the spring,
That's a threat, though, never mind.
here's your sign. I don't know that, I did not realize there was more than one event until we started having this conversation. So,
That's a great, thing that we don't know about it, because that means it's
because
pretty
he's
well run.
also involved in the manufacturing of that cheese out there with John.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
I didn't know
the
that.
ghee,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he was
What?
involved out
Ghee?
there.
it's boiled
Oh,
butter.
yeah, it's like a buttery.
Yeah.
But they're cooking butter down.
Boiled,
Yeah.
boiled butter and make, can't put it in jars, it's called ghee, yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
what do they call that?
Yuck.
Ghee.
No,
Gee,
No, but it's the process,
no,
clarified
Yeah.
butter,
Yeah,
no. We
not,
clarify, we melt it.
it becomes shelf stable is what it
yeah,
does.
yeah. I've
Okay.
tasted it before.
I just know we loaned them money.
Oh, was that right?
They're putting up another building right now. out
Yeah,
there.
Ready Loan, we loaned them some money.
where at now?
Ready Loan, oh, out
No,
on
not,
Jasmine.
Jeff.
oh, okay.
So
I
I,
still don't see the cows.
I signed it for them too, put it in 911 sign.
I know where I'm talking.
Okay, so we got this on for next week to discuss and
Cows are
consider.
gone.
And let's put event permit next to it, so we have that option. Because we're not meeting on the 29th.
Place in my
apparently.
hand.
Put that
What do
permit
you
next to it.
No, but Jennifer,
Discuss and consider event permit, yeah.
Okay,
You could just cut and paste.
Yeah.
Okay.
off that.
All right. So we don't need to set date and time for public hearing.
but we could do that next week if we want.
We could, yeah,
Whatever.
for the 29th. Just kidding. So committee reports.
I tried.
I met with AJ.
Yeah, I went to a meeting last Monday morning. It was way longer than it should have, but I have not reported.
Yeah, but this one was shorter.
Amazing. It's not done yet.
Yeah, well,
No, I have nothing to report.
I had Pathfinders Monday afternoon, kind of emergency meeting. They started up a daycare, they call it a learning center in Bloomfield because daycare shortages. It's at the school, on the school grounds, a building they had and stuff, and Ashley was all upset. We've been into it 4 months. And it's running in the red. Well, we had to have a meeting to discuss it and stuff. She's pretty passionate about it, but we're gonna hang on a little longer because we had all the startup costs. Once you get through all of that, then things is looking different. So, I had something else too. Well, I attended over here at the convention center
Oh, that,
Wednesday evening, the Stanton Dynamics demonstrating the new conveyor board for emergency for people with back injuries and how it picks them up. It was quite interesting. We had a surprise visit from Santa Claus. He was on his way in and he slipped on a banana peel. And there he was laying on the sidewalk. And ambulance come up and Josh and his crew demonstrated the new board. It's a conveyor belt and it just goes right under the person. You support their head, it's for back injuries, because other way was you had to log roll them Well, this, it just went right under. You could have set a glass of water on him and it would have never tipped over. It was just that gentle, just that gentle.
That's also cool to do that with Santa.
It's what?
A nice thing to do with Santa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then he disappeared. They loaded him up and hauled him off. We never seen him again.
He's
Was he really short?
Yeah.
Tis the season.
No, I don't know who he was. Oh, boy. What else did we
You
have?
think that's funny?
a little bit.
Oh, I went to Traction Thursday at noon on Thursday, and the topic this week was juggling. There was a guy there for stress relief. You sat and you juggle. And he's actually doing this and making money at it, goes into companies.
That would cause me more stress.
Yeah,
And-
especially when you drop them.
He got us to juggling. I could juggle 2 balls, but I drop them most of the time. He had some of them doing 3.
Hmm.
And it was very interesting what he was doing. So,
It's like
And then-
playing golf. They say it relieves stress.
yeah.
I don't play golf, but I just can't believe that little ball would relieve stress.
It did relieve stress when I tried it
I
once.
think you have to be drinking.
Yeah.
Okay, now we know what relieves the stress.
Mhm.
And then on Friday, Lee and I attended a District 5 meeting at Lake Darling. ICAP, right? When did I?
ISAC.
ISAC. I'm close. IA, I'm close.
That's right.
So,
Yep,
I'm done.
okay.
Thank you.
I had a Rust Board meeting. We, pretty straightforward, nothing really earth shattering other than we are increasing the, costs for the zoning, for Louisa County, by $5,167 a year. It's the first raise in 4 years, and it's already been approved by Louisa County. So the board approved that, and then like Joe said, we had District 5 meeting. And the representatives from ISAC, Jamie Cashman and Lucas Beacon spoke, well, Rachel Bennett spoke too, but essentially the legislature's first priority out of the gate is going to be property tax reform.
Of course it did.
The understanding is at this point, we're not gonna have to live with House File 718. There is a notion that we may have to live with it this year. This was another big argument that we had, figuratively speaking, was that you all sit up there and you play all of these games during your session. That's not the way it was proposed, but. And then we don't know how to operate in doing our budgets for the fiscal year. Well, they acknowledge that that's a problem, but they're not going to change the way that they do business. So, you know, that in and of itself is an issue. So they're saying House File 718 will die and wither on the vine, but we just don't know exactly when it's going to die and wither on the vine. So I'm just saying it's there. I'm not going to get too excited about it this
Budget cycle.
budget cycle. What it's going to look like, I don't know. Senator Dickey and his infinite wisdom indicated, he wanted to hear from supervisors. Well, I think he only wants to hear from some supervisors.
You've met that quota.
I've met that quota and it's fallen on deaf ears. But he wants ideas. But when he gets ideas, if they don't match their agenda, then it's, the point's moot. And it's a very simple process. And we've said it before, said it Friday. If the legislature would abide by the laws that they pass, then our budgets would be a lot less. And,
You would have the discretion to choose what.
exactly. He even made the comment, did he not, Joe? That we were spending money on things that we shouldn't be spending money on. And I said to him, I said, well, we've cut the amount of money, we don't even do the senior center anymore.
Oh, we
I said,
did.
those kind of things. I said, I've got Crisis Center is asking for money from the tumble. We're not gonna fund that.
Wasn't really anything.
And so then he got on his horse about mental health levy. And he just gushed over Mahaska County and how they got rid of their mental health levy. And he and I have argued over this before. And I said, you know, Jefferson County did too. Well, yeah, okay, so that's one. He said, but my other counties didn't. So he and I, we don't get much accomplished.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Can I, when you're done, I have something I want to say.
Now, I did feel like that Jeff was more responsive, but I'm not sitting here telling you that that's going to get changed. I'm just saying that he was, you know, the difference between the two, and I didn't know the other representative.
Heather, Laura,
Yeah, I didn't know her. I mean, I had not met her before, so, I did not realize that the DNR Lake Darling had built a lodge up there where the beach house used to be.
Mhm.
Pretty nice. They didn't charge us for the meeting, which was nice of them. So, and the
Very
lunch
nice.
was good. Very good, actually.
So I was scheduled for a safety meeting, of which I hurt my leg a little bit, so I wasn't around much. But did you go to the safety meeting? Could you enlighten us?
What was that, sorry?
Could you enlighten us about the safety meeting? Chris was
We
there, so
did.
it probably took a long time.
We did, kind of finalize, like, I call it an agenda for safety training. We were thinking like a half day February, half day October,
Oh,
and then the items that would be.
okay. We had asked or invited you guys about maybe closing everybody up for a morning and running through some safety things all together, so we all could hear at the same time, and that's what she's talking about. So I would say a little in February, a little in October, something like
We
that.
just had to pick
Yeah,
a specific date. and-
yeah. So I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
We did that once several years
Yeah.
ago, that shooter training that we had before
Yeah.
you was here.
Yeah.
I had one more meeting that I missed. Susie reminded me. Thursday morning, I had the Jefferson County Emergency Preparedness Meeting. And different ones from around from the nursing homes, sheriff's office, the schools, the ambulance. We all meet there. It's once a month. And we basically just went around and talked about what we had done in the last month on emergency things and this and that. And Brett did mention that he spent I think he said 148,000 on radios in the last 30 days. Updates and new radios and
Yeah.
stuff. So it's,
Speaking of which, that was a conversation that happened up there at that ISAC meeting. The millions that the state is going to foist on us to get into the interoperability. It's going to be a very expensive process for all of us as far as that part goes. My only concern is that by the time we get into it, that they don't come back and change their mind or want to do something else.
yeah, that's true.
Now, Brett obviously is infinitely smarter on that sort of thing than I am, but I just know that I've been at several meetings that we're looking at not thousands, but millions. So towers alone are, I don't know what all we're going to have to do.
And if I could also remind my fellow supervisors that Christmas is coming up and your wife would probably like a gift if you haven't done that yet.
I gave her a gift
I
all
can't
year.
see
She gets a
after
warm
41
place to
years
sleep.
why I would start now.
And I am going to tell her that she is so lucky.
She's heard it before.
I know that.
Now, what was your comment, Lee?
I said, I can't see after 41 years why I start now.
Also terrible.
Look, you can't put a gift under the tree if you don't have a tree, right? So if I put it outside, she's not gonna be able to get to it anyway, because that's the only place I got a tree.
You know, the longer you talk about this, the bigger the hole is. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, well. So
Okay, Clay.
I would, any public comments? Hearing none, motion to allow claims and approve reports
So move.
in the amount.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway,
It's my turn.
the amount of $81,844.51. What? $81,844.58.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Oh, no. Hearing none.
None.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.